Welcome back to the Hosel Rockets podcast. This is season 1, episode 3, where me and Ben talk about our stack training system and how I am going to defeat him in the end. Welcome back, Ben.
Hey, y'all. How's it going?
That was a perfect intro. I don't think you could dial it in any better than the way I just did that.
You did just practice it like 5 times before you hit the button.
Oh, that's great. And good. And I was going to say, before we get started, we are live streaming this through our little Telegram chat. So go join there. It's telegram.me/Hosel Rockets or something like that. I don't know. We'll put it in the show notes. But anyway, so yes, how have you been, Ben? It's been 2 weeks. So what's new in your world?
Yeah, it's my fault we missed a week. I went up to New York for work. It's fun though. It took me like 2 days to recover when I got back. It's just like get up early, go to work around people all day, which I'm really not used to. It's like super draining. So when it works from home, it's like, oh, I have to like talk to humans in person, have to like try to make eye contact. All this is, really tiring. And then like staying out, eating and drinking until late every night. Yeah, it was a good time though. What about you?
That's awesome. Well, I guess the big question, since you were out of town, did you get to play golf while you were there?
I did actually. So the new thing I've been trying to do, because with this job I go to New York like, 4 or 5 times a year so far. And so, that can be a bit of the pain. So try to do something fun for myself each time. So I've started Friday is always a travel day coming home. And so I started just like traveling really late or traveling the next day and trying to fit in some golf while I'm up there. So last time I played Bethpage Black. This time I tried to get on Bethpage and just could not get an early enough tee time to get on. Tried Black and Red. Just couldn't do it. So I went out to Ballyowen it's in the Crystal Springs Resort in Jersey. It was like an hour and a half in an Uber. It was a trek to get there at like 5:30 in the morning, but it was worth it. It was really awesome out there. It was kind of reminded me of Bethpage because it was really tough off the tee. So a lot of like elevated tee boxes to narrow fairways and then native grass everywhere. So you're lucky if you find the ball. If you miss the fairway, you wouldn't know what this feels like. But for us mortals, if you miss the fairway every now and then, you have to go hack it out of this native grass if you can even find it. But it was fun. It's a really nice course.
That's awesome. So the native grass, that's like what, like just 4, 5, 6 inches of just stuff on the side of the fairways? Is that
it's
how
kind of
you
like
would best explain it?
Kind of like Pinehurst, I guess, right? Where it'd be like, just kind of like, I don't know, random shit and like, I don't know, 2-foot reeds and then just like real thick grass under the reeds.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. And what did you shoot there? We have to see how that handicap's improving.
It's a good question, actually. Let me pull this up. I believe it was an 87, but I could be lying to you. So let's see. And let's check on the handicaps too while we're at it. All right, so that round was an 87, and my handicap is currently at a 10.3, so I'm staying pretty consistent.
Almost single digits. You were getting there.
Yeah, I've been right on the edge for so long. Every now and then I'll drop down into the 9s and then come right back up.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you would play the same course more often, you would definitely be in the singles. So you should think about that.
It starts to fall. I go play the hardest courses I can find, just to make sure it doesn't come down too much. Yeah. What about you? Did you play?
Because you want to take my money at the end of the year. So that's
well, yeah, obviously.
Yeah. So since we talked, yeah, that's your only reason. You don't care about the vanity handicap. You just got to have it high enough to beat me and take all my money. That's kind of rude, if I'm being honest.
It's the only legal way to sandbag.
No, I played twice. This is true. So you've beat the system, basically. You've beat the computer.
Yeah.
Oh no, but I was gonna say I played twice. So I played last weekend 2 weekends ago was the local county am, and that was the first like real tournament I've ever entered outside of my own club. It's 3 days, three different courses, and every day has a cut. So I think they started with like 120 players. They cut 60 out the first day, and then the next day you play, and they cut 30 out, and then I guess the last 30 or so play at my home course on Sunday. But anyway, so like I went in, never played the course. So I did a practice round the Thursday prior. This was on Friday, and I just played bad. Like I couldn't remember like all the holes. Like I couldn't remember what position you need to be in, stuff like that.
So
So I ended up shooting an 81, and this is all a total gross tournament. It's just stroke play gross, and but the team I was with was an older guy. He shot a 65, was dead straight every time. Never. I don't even think he missed a green. Like he putted everything in. It was ridiculous. There was a young boy, he was 15 and the junior playing with us. He shot a 67 and had a double on hole 9. And then there was another older guy, he shot a 72 and he was just scrambling all day. So I was definitely out of my element playing with people that good. But it was fun. It was quite the experience. I think it'll make you better in the end if you do more of that,
Definitely. So this first one, this was at the Muni.
Right, yeah. The first day is at the I think they call it Catawba Creek, but it's basically Gastonia Municipal Golf Course. It's very short. It's got power lines in your way. I actually hit a power line, had to re-tee once. But it's interesting because like you never had more than like a 9-iron into every hole, except for like par fives, but then every par three was like hole 2 was par 3. It was like 187. Hole 7, 205. Hole 16 was 185, and then hole 17 was like 190 uphill. So it was like short course, but the par 3s were just ridiculously long. And Bermuda greens, which I don't read well, but
yeah. How did you deal with the slumming it with the Muni golfers? How slow were the greens? How how many mud patches did you have to hit out of? Did you have to wear jeans? Were jeans required?
Actually, the greens were rolling really well. I was surprised at how well the greens rolled. I was in the woods 3 times. I scuffed up my 5-iron and I scuffed up my wedge trying to hit out of the woods. So that was not very nice. That was not demure, not nice. And but otherwise, I mean, the course was in really good shape. Just every green is like it's like a postage stamp. It's just tiny little greens you got to hit too. And I was going to say the other thing was I did not make the cut. The cut was
Sorry, we've got a little bit of lag
Go
going
ahead.
on, I think, again. I was going to ask,
I know.
was the cut on the first day, or what was the cut situation?
Yeah, so they cut every day, and then so I shot an 81 that first day, and the cut ended up being an 80. So they took everybody 80 and less. So I didn't make the cut, but it is what it is. We had fun.
Okay, so you got your stack. How did you find it?
All right, so I got the stack. I had a tournament at my home course last weekend, so I was like, I'm not going to do it then. I'll wait. So I did it yesterday. I think was the first day I did it. Because the very first stack you actually have to have your driver, and I leave mine at the course, so I didn't have it. So I did it in the garage. I went through the whole entire warm up. I was quite impressed with myself because I'd never warm up before playing golf. And it said my driver was 95, which I thought was quite faster than I actually swing it. And then I guess this is the stack system. It says my stack speed is 86, my E speed is 95, and my distance potential is 260. So I thought that was pretty sweet. I would love to drive at 260, which I do not do right now. So there's a lot of potential.
That's cool. The potential is always like just this little carrot because you so rarely ever hit actually that far. right? Which is good though, because we're going to the winter, so it's going to be less rollout and even less yardage in the cold air. So it's a good time for us to start pushing distance a little bit, right?
I think so. Like I feel like we should both be able to get it to 120, the driver speed. Maybe that's asking too much, but I feel like we can do this.
Yeah. 120 does feel like a lot, but probably doable, right? Like I started, let's see, let me have all my numbers here. I started at around 93 when I started doing this stacking. And then right now, the last session I did, I'm at 103 driver e-speed. So, I mean, if I can bump it up 10 miles an hour in a month or two, another 10 seems doable over a couple months for sure.
Yeah, and well, I was going to ask. So like I went through all I've done so far is like the basic like getting your I don't know I don't forget what they call this, but they want you to do this first, like whatever this first thing I did was, and then I guess they call it baseline. And so you get your baseline, and then now you start a training program. So how like in depth and hard is the actual training program?
I would say it's hard at all. It varies every session. So it'll be like do 5 swings with a heavy weight, do 5 swings with a lighter weight, and it tells you the weight to do with rest in between each like set. And then usually, or maybe every time, you end on the 195, which is the one that kind of mimics your driver weight. And then it'll give you a new e-speed based on that. And so it's usually, I think, like 5 sets or so with varying weights. It'll mix up though if you're doing full swings or max intent swings. The difference there is like full swing is the speed you would do on the course, like, still pretty fast. You're not trying to like be slow, but you're trying to keep it realistic. And then max speed is like, okay, you're just gonna like rip at this thing long driver style. What can you do? Kind of thing.
Interesting. So, well, I was going to say the other interesting thing I found was I sort of mentioned this in our little chat is it felt like the easiest swings I had the most speed. Have you experienced that, or is it sort of random?
It's hard for me to tell which ones are going to have more speed. I definitely seem to get more speed if just my intent is to be faster, right? Like if I'm just like really trying to be faster. And then if my arms are loose, it seems to help. Like if I don't have tension in my arms, it seems to help the speed. Some of my fastest swings ever with an actual driver and a ball,
Mm.
or when I just feel like I have noodle arms or something, which is kind of weird.
Well, I guess the question is what makes it hard to do that when you get to the course? Like have the noodle arms.
I guess for me, it feels like I don't have as much control. That, or maybe I'm just a little more tense too on the course because I don't know, there's trouble, there's pressure, whatever.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, because it's interesting because I was watching a YouTube video this week from Podrick Harrington, who's like I think he's on the senior PGA tour now, and apparently has like one of the fastest swings. And he's just going through and his whole series, and I'm watching it is like how to be a single digit handicap, and he's went through like 4 episodes, and he's like, I don't even want you hitting a golf ball. He's like, right now, all we're doing is just trying to see how fast we can swing this club. He's like, you're better off swinging fast early than worrying about control. And then as you get your speed up, then you want to kind of work on your control and get it dialed in to hitting fairways and stuff like that. I thought that was kind of interesting. He also called me out. He's like, if you drive at 220, you're always going to hit a fairway, so it doesn't matter.
I guess that's true. The ball has less velocity to get offline, or like your face can be more open or more closed, and if it's shorter, it's not going to get offline as much.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Like I guess it's all what geometry. The farther you hit, the triangle is going to change and be out of bounds or in the rough. So I would still take 300 probably in the rough over 220 in the fairway, but that's another discussion.
Yeah, I mean that's the goal, right? I'm game to hit a couple less fairways if can be much farther. Um, okay, so the other thing on this
Yeah.
topic.
So going back, I was gonna say going back to the stack system.
Hmm.
Oh, go ahead. Why is this
This,
doing this?
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so I wanted to hear about your buddy at the club that used the stack to like greatly increase their speed.
Yeah. So I have a I have a buddy at my golf course. He plays all the time, scratch golfer, really good. And I told him about that I was going to start doing this system, and he showed me his stats. And he started at like 90. I think now he's up to like 120. And the interesting thing is, he actually just this was last weekend at my course. We had this sort of brings in two stories. So last weekend we had our club championship, and then we had a second tournament called the President's Cup. President's Cup is net play, and the club championship is 3 days of stroke play or gross play from the gold tees, which are the father's bag. So of course I did not do that because I don't have the distance. But and then so the President's Cup is net stroke play. You still have to put everything out, basically, is what I'm getting to. But anyway, he played in the club championship. He ended up winning in a 4-hole playoff. He made a birdie on, what did he do? He birdied one, he parred two, parred three, birdied four, and the birdie on four gave him the win for the weekend. So now he gets his picture on the wall and everything else. But yeah, he spoke really highly of the stack system, talking about, like, he started really slow and went through it over the winter, and now he's driving it pretty decent. He's probably 270, 280 out in the middle every time. He was hitting every par five and two, so it's quite impressive to me.
And he had that big of a jump just in one season, just in one winter of doing it.
That's a good question. I don't remember if he told me that, because this was a whole of like 30-second discussion on the putting green as we were warming up to play on Saturday. But I want to say it's probably not been that long. Like maybe a year. Maybe that's what it was going through. Instead of like just instantly jumping up that high, but maybe a year of work. But again, I could be wrong, because like I can't remember him actually telling me how long he's been doing it.
Okay, that's cool. There's hope for us yet, then, right?
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. And but yeah, I mean, I feel like 120 is doable. I feel like if that guy did it, we can do it, right?
Uh, truthfully, 120 sounds a little ambitious to me, but I'm game to try. Yeah. My thinking is like, if I can get my E speed to 110, then I can probably do 105 on the course. And 105 on the course is like kind of a game changer. You're
Mm.
right around 300 pretty often. Downhill par five, you're getting there in two pretty easily. Um, it's a big difference between like 100 and 105.
Well, the thing I'm really interested too is like even though your drives, doing all this training, your drives are supposed to go longer, of course, but in theory, it's going to help every single club, in your bag. So now, instead of having a 7-iron in on something, you might be hitting an 8 or a 9-iron, and that just feels like it's going to be way more beneficial than just, you know, uh, I don't know. That just feels more beneficial to me than even the longer driver speed.
Yeah. Yeah. I've definitely seen a bigger jump with my irons than anything from the training I've already done. For some reason, just it translates a lot better to irons for me. But that'll be huge for you. I mean, imagine like hitting a 9-iron from 110. That would just change your game.
118 is the 9-iron range. If we're being specific, it's funny. Like I have a say I have a 120 shot. I'm like, I can hit a 9-iron 120 pretty good if I miss it. Like if I flush a 9-iron, I can probably get 125. So like if it's a 120 shot, it's like it's going to be a 9 iron, and I'm probably not going to flush it, so it's probably going to be about perfect. And I feel like 90% of the time that's actually accurate. It's like they usually go with my miss yardages, which is really beneficial.
Playing with like different golfers, you definitely do see that kind of ego in the club selection. People hit one good one and they always pick that yardage, and it's like that's just a really bad way to play golf, because how often are you going to hit that number perfectly? You got to really play to the miss.
Yeah, that's 100% true. That was my other story. So like I want to transition back a little bit to that President's Cup weekend. Our greens, so it was 2 days stroke play. The greens were ridiculously fast, and I know, Ben, you played at my course, but like if they're really fast, you can't be out of position, or you're going to be 7 feet by the hole. Like there's nothing you could do to stop the ball. And in that same scenario, like if you had a 120-yard shot and maybe you want to hit a pitching wedge and actually miss the green short and just putt up the hill, like that's fine. And that's better than being above the hole and then actually putting back off the green. There was so many instances of the whole weekend where it was like that. It's basically just defensive golf. You just try to be in the right spot and then being able to put up the hill, because otherwise it was deadly.
Yeah, so if I remember right, that was one kind of difference between our clubs, right? Because mine, it's almost exclusively false fronts. So even if you have the downhill putt, you almost always want to be past the hole. Your course was not too many false fronts from what I remember.
No, not too many. Like only two or three false fronts, and even then, you're still putting up the fairway. So, and the fairways aren't really bad, so it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, cool. Got to play smart golf, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's like we have this one hole. It's number 9. You remember playing number 9? We started on that 2 days in a row when you came to my club and we played a tournament. And to set this up, so number 9 is like, I don't remember the yardage, but it's really far. So like it's dogleg left. You got bunkers on the left. You can either like go really far, carry the bunkers, or just go to the right side of the bunkers, have about 150, 60 in. And the pin was back left. Everything on the back just funnels away from the hole. So I had 166 in, and I hit a 170-yard club off the back of the green left, and then just chipped and put it right up the hill and got a par. And I think there was only like 5 people that parred that hole the entire day, because everybody was trying to do middle of the green and then putt down the hill, and then we're just putting it off the green and then having to putt back up. So yeah, it's a lot of course management when the greens get like ridiculously fast.
Yeah, it's always there's certain courses you play. Well, I play, new courses all the time. There's some where it's like, oh, there's so much course knowledge that would help here that I could have shot, 10 strokes lower. And it's stuff like that, right? Like, where to hit it to miss, and you're smart with where you miss it, all that.
Yeah, I think course knowledge probably lowers your handicap than anything, right? Like if you know where to miss it, where to be short, where to be long, like that's going to be a much easier game than just like randomly going out to some course you've never played and just bombing it down the middle, and then all of a sudden you're in a creek or something.
Yeah, I played Moore's Mill, which is up in Auburn. Played that Monday in a scramble. And I'd only played it once before, a couple years ago. And there were probably 3 or 4 holes where it's like, oh shit, I completely forgot that just left is dead or short is great. Course knowledge definitely helps a lot.
Yeah. Well, going back to my little county am, that course, there was like 3 holes. There was one I missed the fairway left. It went down in the woods. If I knew what I know now, I would have missed right, and it would have been fine. Another one, I hit one dead down the middle, but too far, and then I'm blocked out by a tree, and I can't actually go to the green. So there was quite a few like dumb mistakes like that. If I would have had course knowledge, it would have been way easier, and could have actually qualified. I'm gonna play it more before the next one.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. You gotta 3 weeks, play it every weekend or something before the next one at least, so it's fresh and you have all the knowledge.
For sure. Yeah, that's my goal next year. Oh wait, so let me tell you about my President's Cup event. So I
I
didn't get
know.
in that yet.
I keep trying to like put this off to see if you'll forget because I know you're dying to say it. All right, go ahead.
No, I'm very excited. I'm very excited. Um, so they did 3 flights. You had a championship flight, which played the gold tees, and they're all like scratch handicaps. I was in flight 2, and then had flight 3. So the first day I shot a 79 net 72, which which in my flight I had the low round of the day, which was really good. And again, I had 2 doubles that day, but I ended up having like 4 birdies to counteract those. But I still had a lot of bogeys and stuff. Had a lot of 3 putts actually. And then second day, I was in the final pairing, shot a 78, but I had a double on hole 15. So anyway, 78 net 71, ended up 1 shot out of the win. So I needed to not have the double, and I needed to have 1 less bogey. So one of the scratch golfers ended up winning the President's Cup, but I won my flight and got a lot of money from the buy-ins and all the other stuff. But it was fun.
That's a really good run, though. I mean, to come that close with your handicap as low as it is, it's pretty great.
Yeah, that was the good part, and being able to shoot your handicap 2 days in a row is pretty. I feel like that's kind of rare. Not many people actually did that the weekend. There were people that would, shot low the first day and then kind of blew up the second day, or vice versa. So it was nice to just kind of hold it steady. Just play. I don't know. I played very basic, boring golf. It was try to hit fairway, try to hit center green, try to 2-putt. If not, worst case 3-putt, and move on to the next hole. So it ended up working in the end, though. Unfortunately, I didn't get the trophy, but that's the way it goes.
Next year.
That's true. Next year, my goal. That's the reason I want to do the stack system and get the 120 is because I want to play the club championship and I want to play for the gold tees. But you can't play gold tees if you're driving at 230 when you got par threes that are 240. Like you're hitting driver.
Yeah. What's the yardage of the course at the gold tees? Gold tees are your tips.
7,000 something. It's over 7. I don't know how that compares to other people, but it seems pretty far.
Yeah, it's real far.
Yeah. Which we have. Let's see. We have two pros that grew up there. So like they've always wanted to make it where it's like the PGA guys could actually come out and play, because we used to do PGA Tour qualifiers. Then we have HV3 grew up there, and then another guy named Taylor Dixon who just got his PGA Tour card. So they've grown up playing from the gold tees at that course. So it's like some pretty legit yardages for amateurs.
That's really cool. Yeah, on that, I'm starting to get a little scared with you now stacking, because we go to between you stacking and me hitting a slice now. If we go to Pinehurst and you outdrive me every time, it's gonna be problematic for my reputation, really. So I devised a plan today with my personal trainer. We're going to start doing the stack together in our training sessions instead of just weights and shit. And we're going to work on what can I do to really bump this up to the next level. So we're going to dedicate a session to that on Monday.
I like this idea. So let's hear about this training program. I want more in depth on like how are you going to like increase your, I don't know, core muscle group to make you be able to do this.
Yeah,
I need the insights.
We should have him on sometime. It'd probably be kind of interesting for people to hear like golf specific workouts. But he has me do a lot of kind of like turning, twisting, explosive movements, a lot of jumping. Not so much like heavy weights, but really like core, fast, kind of just things I never probably would do like if I was on my own. A lot of cardio, just like it really kicks my ass. And he said the plan for when we do the stack will be like, let's do the stack, let's try a bunch of stuff to see like what tips he can give me to like deliver speed more efficiently. So we played golf together, and he said, there are several things in my swing that are just not efficient from like a physical standpoint. And then so we'll hit some on the stack or swing some on the stack, and then we'll go do some exercises meant to target kind of things I'm doing wrong, and then we'll go do the stack again to see how it moves those numbers.
That's interesting. Because I always assumed, like, you know, like there's medicine balls, like you hold them in your hands like this, and you like you throw them against the walls and stuff. I assumed that would be the best thing for golf ever, but maybe that's not accurate.
No, we do a good bit of that too. Yeah, like med ball throws in different ways. He also likes the golf forever, so we did some of that tonight, where just like a few different movements with the golf forever.
I've never heard of that. Golf forever.
It's kind of like it's meant for golf exercise. It's like I don't know, a big stick with tension straps on it, basically. So you can do like several different workouts with it.
Interesting. And then I'm trying to think, like, so how long have you been doing this? Have you been doing this for like years, or this is pretty new?
So the trainer's pretty new. It's I think I'm actually on like my 10th session.
Okay.
So like 2 to 3 months, 2 months maybe. Okay. And he's TPI certified, so it is like a golf focused training. And then I'm like trying to be a little healthier and stuff. So I'm down like 10 pounds since I started, and
nice,
feeling a little better, except for this past week where I just like drink every day and ate all the food in New York. But yeah, overall feeling a lot better.
Did you go to Sparrow Pizza?
Yeah, I went to the mall. Yeah, had some pizza at the mall.
No, see, like you're going all in. Like I'm kind of disappointed in myself now. Like you're like doing everything, and I'm like just trying to do like a basic little stack system and just trying to play more. So I'm very curious on how this turns out in the end. If your way's better, are you doing yoga too?
Well, I'm playing less and doing this other stuff more. So I don't know. I guess we'll see how it works out in the end. My thought is like really invest in this for the off season, and then hopefully next year it pays off, because my handicap's been kind of stuck here for over a year, where I'm like right around a single digit and just like can't really break through and stay there. So my thinking is like, you know, better physical, you know, like stability, better cardio, and then more swing speed will probably really help break through that.
I mean, yeah, I was gonna say that makes sense. I guess my other question is, do you think it's physical or is it mental?
I think there's some of both, because I mean, I don't know if we talked about it on the show. There's definitely that, like, I can swing the stack 103 and I can swing a driver without a ball 103 or 104, but the second you put the ball down, it drops to like 95, and it's like so hard to get it up higher. So I've hit a couple at like 104 with a ball, but usually it's like 99-ish with a ball. And it's really weird how like the second you put a ball down, it drops 5 to 10 miles an hour.
Well, even like piggybacking on that, like what about the other parts of the game? Like, are you like when you have a bad hole, does that like ruin your next 3 holes because you keep thinking about the bad hole, or are you pretty good about?
I don't think that's too
it?
bad for me. I definitely do get nerves like in a tournament, and so that's part of why I've just been playing so many more tournaments to kind of just get used to it. And that's getting better. I mean, really the other thing's just been putting, but you know, it's getting better though. That new putter, and I've been practicing putting more. It's coming down, so I'm probably averaging like 33 putts around now, which is pretty big when I was averaging 38 putts around pretty recently.
Are you still doing gimmies, or you've stopped doing those now?
I mostly stopped. So I mean, it depends on the round, right? Like who I'm playing with and what we're doing.
Right.
But
yeah.
I'd say like over half my rounds at least are no breakfast balls, no mulligans, no gimmies. Just trying to like
good,
put that tournament pressure on myself.
I'm just warning you now, Pinehurst, no breakfast balls, no mullies, no gimmies. And,
hey,
you're gonna have to,
I think it was David this year trying to advocate for the mulligans, right?
It was David. I know. Crazy. Can't do that.
Actually,
Can't do that. Yeah, no. I feel like you play better if you don't do any of those, and you just do it. If you just get in the habit, do it every single time, then you're like, well, this is how you play golf, and then it's like it's not even a big deal anymore. But I don't know. I have a weird outlook on all that stuff.
I think you do play better though, because there is something too, like I don't know if you know you have another shot you could use, like a mulligan or a breakfast ball. You're not quite as committed to every shot, right? So being a little more committed to every shot, I think, works out better in the long run.
True. And for me, like playing the tournaments is like I still can't get my like a casual round, with the buddies. I can't get my mindset geared to a tournament round because I don't know how your handicap fluctuates, but like for me, I play way better in a tournament situation than I do like just going out playing with my buddies. And I think the reason for that is just like I pay way more attention. I'm like looking at all the angles. I'm doing all the stuff that like you should probably be doing anyway. But I just don't want to take the time because I'm lazy and we're just trying to get a 4-hour round in. And that was kind of where I was leading. Do you find that you play better in tournaments or play better just randomly out?
I play better casually. Yeah, the tournament pressure definitely hits me. It's rare to shoot my handicap in a tournament.
Really?
So I've been playing the USAM tournaments this year, which they're like very legit tournaments. They're not just like club tournaments. So we travel around new courses and all that. And anyway, until maybe my 6th tournament, I don't think I'd broken 90 in one of those. And then I kind of like got a little more used to the nerds and started breaking through. And now I'm shooting closer to my handicap in them, but still worse than a casual round.
That's interesting to me. Like, I don't really get too nervous ever. It's just more of like, I don't know. I sort of grew up in competition sports anyway, like racing motorcycles. So it's like I'm used to being on the starting line and like, your heart rate being 190 and you're going full blast for 30 minutes, where golf is just more like you just have to calm down and just make a swing. And it's like, whatever happens, then you go.
What's the worst that can happen in golf, right? Like,
exactly. You hit it OB. So what? You take a drop or you re-tee it. So to me, I don't know. I've never really been nervous with golf. Other than that first time at my club where we did it's actually coming up in 2 weeks. We call it the Smith Cup. You enter all the tournaments throughout the year. You get points. And if you're top 20 by the end of the year, you get to go to this thing called the Smith Cup, which is basically rider format weekend. And my very first one, I was a 12 handicap. They put me against the former club champion on the very last day of match play. And I played really good until like the 15th hole. And then I got nervous because they were just like random people, like all the people that are members of the club were just like lining all the greens in their golf carts and just people everywhere. And I was not used to that at all. So I lost, I think I lost on 17 that day, but I've been trying to relive that ever since.
Nice. The worst for me, the first tee is always the worst in a tournament. And then the putting for the first couple holes is always much worse. And then, 3 holes in, I started to feel like I'm in a groove and it's fine.
Well, like in your mind, those first 3 holes when you're nervous putting, are you just trying to like get it close and be like, I just want to tap it. A par is good. Just let me tap this in. Let me 2-putt these first 3 and then kind of
Yeah, that's usually what I'm thinking. But also it's like, I don't know, the speed just feels off. And part of that is probably just because I'm not used to the course because it's almost always a new course.
Yeah.
But definitely feel a little more like tense and not as kind of free-flowing with the putting stroke.
That's very interesting. Yeah, I don't think I could go play a tournament without playing beforehand. Like I feel like that would be a disservice to yourself.
It's definitely a disservice, especially if you're playing against people. Like you'll play against members of that course, and it's like, what are my chances here? Even if they're worse than me, what are my chances?
Yeah. Well, that's even like that county am. I did that practice round, but then when we would go like the next day, I would just because I'm playing with like really good golfers, that I never had the tee box, so I never had to go first. I would just see what they pulled out. If they pulled driver, I'm like, all right, it's a driver hole. If they pulled out something else, I'll be like, it's probably still a driver hole. And, but still, it was just like helpful just to see what they were doing. But at the same time, it's like I'm not really comfortable because I have no clue like where's actually good or bad here.
Yeah. Yeah. So that first tournament I played this year, which was the first one on this like amateur tour, I had a good drive, good approach, decent lag putt, and I had maybe 3 feet for par. Feeling pretty good about myself, and I 3 or 4 putted that 3-footer. Oh. That might be where the mental scars started for putting in tournaments.
Yeah. We talked about this, right? The line. You don't use the line, right?
No, not a fan of the line.
Oh, man. I love 3 and 4 footers. I do the line every single time. It's just like the most freeing thing ever because you're like, all I have to do is hit this line straight and it goes in the hole. Like, I don't know. It's just so simple at that point. But I'm still struggling to use it anywhere else.
Take longer to putt than aim pointers. You know, it's part of
this is true. I am self-conscious of that. But at the same time, if it saves me like 4 strokes around, it's like it's worth the extra 20 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. that does lead into another episode we're gonna have to kind of tease it. We're gonna talk about slow play and what actually causes slow play.
This is true. I like this. I like that one a lot. Because what's interesting too is it's sort of slow play. Like I feel like me and you are not slow. Like I might even be a little faster than you, but neither one of us are slow. It's like, but there's some people you get out with, and it's just like, what are you doing? What are you thinking about? I don't know. I don't want to go too much in this topic.
We'll get into
you're hitting a pain point for me.
Yeah, I had this one guy I played in with a tournament that I really want to complain about because he was the kind of guy that would like. It was like he didn't even think about his shot before it was his turn, and then he would start looking at the shot and then go grab a club. Then he might go like get a different club once he stood over the ball. And it's like you could have done at least 80% of this before it was your turn. What's happening here?
Yeah. So speaking of aim point being slow, so that first round of county am, the 15-year-old that I played with, he did aim point, and he was telling me all about it, like how it works, whatever. He's like, I can't tell you all this, but this is what we do, and that led from the last episode. But anyway, he did it really well. Like I don't think we ever waited on him the whole day. So like if you're off the green, he's already got it felt out. He's like perfect. He's ready to go. And then when it gets his turn, he just lines up his fingers and his thing, and then he's like boom, and then he just knocks them in every single time. It was kind of crazy and also impressive how he made it keep flowing and not be like super slow and not like a whole thing.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be. I like to like go ahead and do the like foot reading thing while other people are reading their putts and like lining up their putts and all that. And so like I'll already know what I'm going to do before I step behind the ball. The only problem I've had is there's a couple people I played with, one in a tournament who was really anal about it, where it like I guess threw off his routine to see me walking my putt. And so, just like he would force me to wait until he was done reading his putt to go do it. And then it's like, well, now we're all just being slow, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, no, I did have a buddy that did that once. We were playing it was a two-man match play tournament. And my buddy was a big aim point guy, and the people we were playing with were like, really good scratch golfers, whatever. We got a ton of shots that day. But it was like the second hole, and my buddy was like feeling out like every inch. And then the guy's like, dude, he's like, I don't mind you doing it. Just do it when it's your turn because you're really bothering me. Yeah. And but that's what I was leading into with the 15-year-old. Like he didn't do every little inch. He did like just I don't know how he did it, but we never had to wait on him the entire day. I don't know if he didn't do the whole way or if he just like hit the big points within the break or something. But I don't know.
Yeah, the way you're supposed to do it is just 1 or 2 points. You're not supposed to do like all of it. Yeah, you'll have to let me know this year when we play in a couple of weeks if I'm being slow or if it's fine.
Or if it's annoying.
Yeah. I'm going to try to be annoying though. Like I'm going to step in your line as much as I can.
We need an episode on that. Like we need somebody that knows some science and be like, if somebody's all right. So like my whole theory is you have a green and you have a flag and you have say you start at 10 o'clock and the first tee time was at 7. You have 3 hours of people walking around that flag stick, putting their marks in. Why does it matter if my playing partner walks in front of my line?
I completely agree. Like the people just before us on the green probably walked on that line, and it didn't
Right.
like the grass didn't regrow in the last 10 minutes, right?
Yeah.
I don't think it matters at all. Now there is stats I've seen Lou Stagner post about that putting stats are better earlier in the morning on tour. So the earlier tee
Interesting.
times they putt better because the greens are more pure.
That's interesting. Yes. Now I'm distraught about this. I'd like to see the research on this.
Now you gotta make sure to get the earliest tee time possible from now on.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it makes sense, but at the same time, like I don't know. I just can't get my head around like you walking in my line is going to make that much of a difference. It's kind of like the Bryson guy like trying to line up the dimple. Like I'm not good enough to know the difference there.
I'm not hitting that dimple no matter how much I try.
Right. It's like what? It's like sure, whatever. Like you're a pro, okay, that's fine. But like for us amateurs, like if you step in my line and I don't hit the right dimple, there's a chance it still might go in, or help me.
He's also playing much nicer greens than even our country clubs, right? Like, yeah, I don't know if the dimple's going to matter for us.
Yes, I will say this though: the pure greens are probably the greatest way to play golf. If you ever play on a course that does not have pure greens or just like slow, bumpy, whatever, it's so much worse of a round than when you go out and like you have just this pure rolling, quick. I don't know. It's almost like putting on a like a pool table. You know, it's just so nice and just goes where you aim it. I love that.
Yeah, it's nice too because you can just kind of like start the ball on the line, and if you read it right, it's going in the hole. Whereas on the slower greens, you have to like kind of like hit the shit out of it and hope it doesn't bounce its way off the line, right?
Yes. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. I'm hoping. I guess for all the listeners in Europe, in the southern United States, we're coming up onto the season where every golf course plugs the greens. What do you call that? That's
Aeration.
yeah, aerates the greens, and those are the worst ones ever to putt on. But so we're hoping when we go to Pinehurst in November that all that's been taken care of this month. It's all like grown back and good, because that's going to suck if we get down there and like, oh yeah, we aerated last week, but you know, here's your $1,000 round.
Yeah. Do you know? Are they bent grass or are they Bermuda there?
Bermuda.
That's good.
You can't. I don't think you can grow bent grass out eastern North Carolina.
Really? Okay. Does it get hotter than where you are?
Oh yeah, hotter, drier, and just like marshy. Like I don't know, everything's different out that way. So I think the cutoff is like right around Charlotte. You can have bent from Charlotte to the mountains, but the other way it's always Bermuda.
Okay. Interesting.
That's my theory anyway.
A lot of courses used to have bent here, but I think they've almost all completely swapped over to Bermuda here because it just survives a lot better here.
They're talking about doing the memberships keep saying they want us to do Bermuda on our course, but they would have to redo the entire green complex because ours are too undulated for Bermuda, because like at that point you just couldn't keep it on the green probably half the time, or it would just be way too much break. But we're going to, from my understanding, we're sticking with bent, but there's a new, like, you know how like what's the right wording? Like they make new versions of bent grass or
strain? Is strain the right
new
word?
strain. Yeah, strain.
Well, that's the word you use for weed. I'm not sure if that also counts for grass.
I think it does. I think it is a new strain. So they have new strains since the ones when our greens were made. So we can get new strains out on our golf course.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, we were also trying out TIFF 3D on ours.
See, new strain.
Yep, new strain. Still Bermuda, but they're trying that on the chip and green and on one green that always has this dead spot because of the way it sits on the hill. So I would assume if that goes well, they'll be looking at doing a green renovation in the next few years, probably. Our greens are getting pretty old. I think they're over 20 years old now.
Are they going to assess you for like $50,000 to have all this done?
I would assume so.
That's the worst.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, hey, here's a $50,000 bill, and you can't use your course for a year.
Exactly. Well, I mean, it's good for your handicap. You'll get to go play all these other places for the same price, but still.
Yeah. I'd actually enjoy that, probably. Except for the money.
Yes. So sort of change subject. When is your member guest this year? Have you found out yet for 2025?
They have not announced it yet.
Okay. You let me know.
You said yours is April?
No.
No?
June. I'm pretty sure it's June. Okay. I don't know. I'll text you the real dates, but pretty sure it's like June, July. Like they kind of have it in the hot month. That way they can get the greens really fast and run good.
Okay.
At that point.
We'll definitely have to do that this year, and we'll figure out some kind of recording situation too, so we can talk about it.
I mean, I'll hire a video crew and they'll come out and follow us around. I like this idea.
Just a drone that follows us all day.
Yeah, I mean that seems perfect, right? We could get like a blimp, and the blimp would follow us around, and film every shot, and then we hire some editor, and they come in and slice it up, and it makes us look cool, and we cut out all the duffs and all the tops and everything else.
Could we get like an announcer that follows us around too and just like narrates around for us?
Yes, I like this. This is a good idea. Like there's money in this.
It wouldn't be distracting for us or our playing partners at all.
No. That might actually help us win because they'll be too focused on like being on TV. Getting their heads.
We need a couple practice rounds doing all this just to get used to it, and then we'll go dominate.
Yes, this is true. Or we could just have like a video guy in a separate cart, and he just follows us around and like with a camera and just like films. Like he's just like 20 yards behind us every time, just films, and we just keep going around.
Let's be like really cagey about what's happening too. That way people think we're just famous.
I like this. And then we'll scream and we'll like run up the fairways and doing the Happy Gilmore where he's like riding the pony. We'll do it all, man. I like this.
Yeah. We can have some guy in like a suit follow us around too as our security.
Headphones in. Oh man, we're going off the rails on this episode. We're supposed to keep it tight.
Remember when we were aiming for 30-minute episodes?
I do. It didn't work out.
No. Yeah,
I do.
Okay.
I was gonna say I do like that we're not lagging anymore, so that's good.
Yeah,
like everything seems called up, so that's good.
Yeah, it helps. Should we wrap up? Should we talk about next week? We have a pretty big episode coming.
Yep. Go ahead. And let's do that, and then we'll wrap up and be done.
Cool.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
I'll let you handle that.
Is it? Believe it's Monday. Yeah, Monday we have Sasha McKenzie coming on. He is the founder of the Stack system, so he's going to tell us all about the stack. He's going to hopefully fix our swing speeds and give us, one tip that adds 10 miles per hour to both our swing speeds. And yeah, it should be really fun and interesting. I've heard him on a couple other podcasts. Really interesting guest. Really cool to talk to. I hope we can get a little nerdy with him too. Dig into some of the like technical details of how it works, and drop your questions in the Telegram if you have any questions you want us to relay to Sasha. That could be fun to answer both ours and your questions. I'm gonna really ask him a bunch of questions about like why does my swing suck and why am I not faster, and fix me, Sasha.
I think he can. I think it's all in your head, though. That's what I'm going with. I'm gonna go and lay it out right now. It's all in your head, and he's gonna tell you that. So I had a $10 side bet that he's gonna tell you it's in your head and it's all your fault.
If it's in my head, can it be fixed though, or am I just cursed?
Yeah, you're cursed.
Not only am I gonna go to a personal trainer and do speed training, I'm also gonna start going to like a sports psychologist. As a 10 handicap. I'm going to be the first 10 handicap he's ever seen.
Yeah. I'm kind of jumping into whole different conversations. Bob Rotella has some awesome books. You should check those out. Sports
That's the putting
psychologist,
guy,
golf
right?
psychologist. No, wait, he has a putting book, but he also has like, he has like a whole like game book. It's like, it's probably one of the best golf books I've ever read. So I will recommend that one for the head thing, because it's like, I don't know. We'll put it in the show notes. Let me put a mark on this so that way I can find out later. All right, let's wrap it up. All right.
Is that a wrap? How are we wrapping?
No, you're doing the outro. So this is on you.
Doing the outro. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for joining. I will be interested to see if anyone actually joined live, because we're trying that for the first time. Yeah. We'll see y'all next week. Derek's shaking his head. No one joined live.
No, I think there might be one.
Wife in the living room.
Yes, it might be her. Or it might be my daughter being like, I felt sorry for you, so we're going to jump in there.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Thanks, y'all. Thanks, Eric.
All right. Thanks for watching, guys.